Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue. We're doing a game preview for our second game against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light this time. As you can see at the bottom on our ticket where you can find us, we can find us on Twitter or X. I do need to change that, to be fair. You can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We are on YouTube as well. Please go and like and subscribe anything that we do. It'd be much appreciated. Once this goes out on YouTube later on tonight or in the morning, it is on podcasts as well, so you can listen in on Spotify, Amazon, and other places where you get your podcasts from. We are partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena, and we are sponsored by Wright Steel Fabrications, who can do your steel works up and down the country, but mainly in the West Midlands area and the Warwickshire area. So, as always, I'm joined by Mark Smith. Good evening, Mark. You okay?
Yes. Hi, Stuart. Hi, everyone. Yep, good. Thank you.
Good. And from the Wise Men Say podcast, we're joined by Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Good evening. You all right, lad?
Hi, Jimmy.
You okay?
Very good.
Good. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we get into everything, can you just let people know where we can find you and what you guys do?
Yeah, so we're Sunderland's longest running independent fanzine. We've been going for just over 10 years now. So it's mainly podcasts. We've also got a website with some sort of articles writing on there as well. We do a bit of YouTube, but it's mainly just podcasts on YouTube. So yeah, it's at Wise Men Say Pod on your usual social media outlets except TikTok. I don't know why we don't have TikTok, but that's not my responsibility. So.
Okay.
I'm not the social media manager. I just do what I'm told. So
don't blame you.
TikTok, but we have all the rest of the social media. So it's at Wise Men Say Pod.
At Wise Men Say Pod, yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So let's get into it then. So the last game obviously was at the CBS Arena fairly early on in the season. It did pan out to be a 0-0. And obviously, as we go through this, we'll go through the changes that both clubs, to be fair, have gone through. But obviously, yours more recently than probably ours, to be fair. So did you go to the game? Did you watch the game at the CBS Arena? How did you think it went on your side?
I didn't go primarily because after I went to when we played. Do you remember when we played you in League One? When Lee Catmull scored at the back end of the first half, and then I think we drew 1-1 that day, if I remember rightly. And
I think so.
I was like, after that game, I was like, I don't really need to go. I'm joking. I didn't go. I've only been to Coventry once. I would go again, but it was a fairly sort of standard nil as well, wasn't it? I was quite pleased with the result insofar as the way you ended the season, obviously against the playoff final, really good side. Obviously you've got Alex Sims, who we liked from last season. I was expected us to lose that game, and I'm normally known as being the most positive guy on Wise Men Say in terms of like predicting which games someone we're going to win, and I normally think we're going to win games and whatever, but I wasn't confident playing you guys away, so I was quite happy with the 0-0. If I'm honest, I think you've probably not been as good as what I thought you were going to be since the start of the season. Obviously losing Gyökeres and Hamer were big. My wife's a Sheffield United fan, so I've obviously seen a bit of Gus Hamer playing for them, and he's definitely their best player. So I can understand why, like, you guys are missing him. Obviously, he's playing well. And Gyökeres is banging him in Portugal as well for Lisbon, isn't he? So that's good. But yeah, you've got one of the best managers in the division. Matt Robbins he's been great. If you look at his body of work, what he's done for you guys, I would still like to have him manage us in terms of like what the type of manager he is, what I think he can do. But yeah, I think the 0-0 was kind of like a good result for us insofar as we didn't lose, which I thought we would, but also obviously contextually in the league, given what the stated aims of the club and whatever we want to do. It's also like, could we have done more? Given that, well, I think could we have done more? If you look at where we were as a side at the time of that game, obviously it was before the end of the window and stuff, wasn't it? So we hadn't fully got all the signings, because obviously you did your business early, getting Sims and Hadji right in with probably your two main signings. We didn't really make any signings. No. Well, I mean, we made signings, but were they of note? You guys will probably know what this is like. The jury's out on a lot of our signings, even now in December. So back in August, it was definitely out even more than it. Yeah, I was quite happy with the draw. And I think, Carl, if I'm going to sum up that game, I think you guys probably would have thought you'd win. I think you probably should have won, but we were quite happy with the point. And it's just never a good place to go for us, essentially.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, me and Mark were both there. We're both season ticket holders, and for me, anyway, it's always a hard fought game against Sunderland. Really, I'm just trying to think. Mark, just remind me. Did we play Middlesbrough first and then Sunderland, or was Sunderland first?
No, we played Middlesbrough first, second. That's our first home game of the season.
That was
I think
who did we play in between?
The playoffs, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Who did we play in between?
Watford.
Did we play Swansea?
We played Swansea away. Yes. I think Watford at home, but I think that might have been after Sunderland. Thinking about it.
Right. Okay. So there was Swansea. So for me, anyway, look, Sunderland's always a hard game, and if I remember rightly, it was a very as you said, I think it was a typical maybe 0-0. Both had chances, both missed chances, I think, as well. Like I said, we did start off okay. We started off okay-ish, I suppose. But we lost against Leicester first game of the season. An unlucky loss, if you like. It was just a classic.
I was listening to that game because we played it Ipswich as the late kickoff. I live in Liverpool. I don't live in Sunderland or Durham.
Okay.
There. So I've got a season ticket, so I basically have to drive like 2.5 hours for every home game. Yeah. So driving up to the Ipswich game on the first day of the season, we were the 5:30 kickoff, whatever it was, and I remember listening to your game versus Leicester on, I think it was Talksport earlier, and it sounds like a very even game, given obviously what they had coming out of the set, and obviously what you. It's a bit of a rivalry, is it? It must be a bit of a rivalry, like. Geographically speaking, at least.
Yeah, it's known as the M69 derby.
Yeah.
Because it is literally down the M69, and we are quite close. To be fair, they're probably closer to us than what Birmingham is. And Villa are, and they're probably more known to be our rivals more than Leicester. But it's known as the M69 derby because they are quite close, definitely geographically anyway.
So it was a hard game. It was a hard game for you guys to start the season, wasn't it? Given
Look, it was, and we gave a good account of ourselves. And then our first home game, we absolutely battered Middlesbrough 3-0. That was more surprising than anything, really. And then kind of our form started to go a little bit, and it was that. Do you think, Mark, it was at that point that our season slowed down, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, we played well at Leicester. We won. We lost 2-1. Well, say we won. We were winning 1-0, shall I say? And really, it was just two bits of quality that won in the game. With Dewsbury Hall.
I did expect to be fair from a relegation.
Yeah, although what we did, Hamer did actually play his one and only game for us
in
that Leicester
game.
Yeah. So that might explain why we kind of gave him a really good game. Middlesbrough played well. I mean, after that, we drew at Swansea, drew against Watford. I'll get my fixtures out. We obviously drew Swansea, but we drew to Sunderland, obviously, and then we drew to Watford. Drew to Hull, lost to Cardiff, and drew to Huddersfield, and then we got our first win away from home. That is at the end of September against QPR. So
QPR, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've been. To be honest, we haven't been playing badly. we've been playing okay. We haven't been taking our chances. That's been our problem.
Yeah, that has been a big problem.
Recently, we've been playing better. I mean, the game last week against Leeds, it's a sort of game where you expect to be don't have a lot of possession, particularly away from home. But we played really well there, and we defended well. And our main real chance we scored, and that was from a Bob.
Well, I mean, a point away at Ellen Road, given what they are in this division, is a really good point. I mean, I don't like mean to be like, oh, look what we did against them, like directly, but obviously, like we played them last Tuesday, we beat them, but it was at home, and I thought that I was thinking, like, let's be honest, like if you look at the value of their squad, what players they've got, a point would be great. I never for a minute think we'd beat them, and it would be twice as hard playing the Ellen Road. So for you guys to get a point from that game, I think would be really good, especially given, obviously how if you look at the way they play, and especially the way they play at home, if you look at obviously his leagues and the atmosphere wherever they play at home, it's one of the hardest places to go in the championship, isn't it? So good result. I don't know. I think
and obviously I've just you've just mentioned it there. Obviously you played Leeds, you beat Leeds 1-0. Your last home game before that was West Brom, and you beat West Brom as well. So you've beaten good teams at home, and I to be fair, I was at the start of the week. I was a little bit more optimistic, but when I actually looked to teams that you've beaten at home, you've beat some really, really good teams at home.
It's weird this season. It's weird because last season our away record was markedly better than our home record, whereas this season our home record is a lot better than last season, and our away record is just like tanking. Like we're barely winning it all the way, whereas last season we were doing a lot better. So I'm quite happy we're playing at home, to be fair, because back when we played in August, I was still thinking we're more of an away team than a home team. So again, I was thinking it'd be a hard place to go, but I think we'll get something. Whereas this home game, it's weird for me to think actually maybe we are good at home again. So West Brom game and Leeds. I mean, there were two totally different teams, and we played in two totally different ways. But don't forget, we've also got a new manager now as well. Whereas both of those were Mike Dodds, who was our caretaker manager then. But to be fair to him, he set us up in two totally different ways against two totally different teams. We got the result both times. And he's like really hands-on sort of. He's been a big part of the coaching staff, and he's been promoted to assistant manager with Beale. So hopefully he'll still have quite a lot of influence, because I really rate the guy. I think he's a really good coach, and he's done well for us. So I think it's on Saturday going to be interesting to see with the added Beale factor coming in for us as the new manager, and then you guys obviously have got a really good point away at Leeds. I mean, not many teams are going to leave Ellen Road with a point. I know I'd be happy with us getting a point there. I'm sure you guys were happy with getting a point there. I mean, unless you're Leicester, even like Leicester and Ipswich, they'd also be happy with a point away at Leeds. It's just a good result to have as an away side. So I think it's going to be interesting because you guys seem to be took enough of it. I don't know. I'm kind of excited but nervous at the same time. I don't really know how to.
Yeah, I think us as Cov fans, we definitely are. Obviously, there has been 18 games played since we last played each other. You've won 9, you've lost 7, and you've drew 2. So your form, is on the rise at home as such, because I think them sort of early losses, I think they came, just slightly after our game anyway, really. But as you've mentioned already, Michael Beale. The honest answer is I'm not a massive fan of Michael Beale. I'm happy that he's actually come in now and not after our game, because it gives him, if you like, a week to implement the things that he wants to implement. And hopefully the players get a little bit confused with what Dodds was trying to do, what Beale's trying to do. And, it might play into our hands a little bit, in all honesty. How do you feel about the Beale, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, he started well at QPR. Then he said that Wolves approached him and he was happy there, and he was, wanted to stay loyal. Then he went, and Glasgow Rangers came calling him, and he buggered off to them. He didn't ever do a great job there. I think it's an interesting point by some as a risky one. I think it's fair to say, Jimmy, that it's kind of been met with mixed reaction by the Mackem fans. Would you say
mixed at best? I'd say like I don't think I've spoken to anybody or read many tweets or posts or whatever that have been positive about it, which is unusual even for our fan base. It is quite unusual. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not given what we thought we were, because the best way to sum up is Mowbray was doing pretty well. He wasn't necessarily doing as well as we think we can do for the club, but also I don't think he did a lot wrong at all to lose his job. So then when he does lose his job, you think, right, so this must mean that we're going to get someone who's going to really take us to the next level. Like, even if it's a left field, never heard of him, appointment, whatever, that's fine, as long as it's somebody who, has the potential. If you look at like when Norwich appointed Parker, or you look at when, Rob Edwards went to Luton, I guess there could be another similar, the way he transformed the club. That type of appointment, and then it's like, you see the rumours coming like, it's Michael Beale. He's like, yeah, he's not going to get the job. It's Michael Beale. Like, he's sat by Rangers. He was at QPR for a bit. And then as it started to gather pace, everyone was like, we're not actually going to appoint Michael Beale. And then we just did. It was very underwhelming. I mean, I'm not totally against it, because obviously for him to get where he has in the game, obviously he worked with Gerrard at Villa, he worked with Gerrard at Rangers. He was, he's done loads of youth work at like Liverpool and whatever, blah blah, which is great. But his managerial record consists of him managing QPR until he got an offer for a better job, and then he sacked it off and just left them. Then he went to Rangers and just tanked it. And obviously it's different insofar as at Rangers, he was having to be like a quote-unquote manager rather than just a coach who's going to do transfers. He won't have to do the transfer side of it here, but it's still kind of worrying that we've appointed him. And if I'm honest, I think it's probably like he was out of work and available, so more attractive to us than the managers who.
All right. Do you think that they appointed him maybe a day or 2 days early, because obviously Cooper's available now?
Yeah,
would you take Cooper?
Would I take Steve Cooper over Mayfield 100%? Of course I would. Yeah, absolutely. But would Steve Cooper? I mean, actually, Steve Cooper might. We're a big club, and we may be attractive for him. Whether he wants to go from one job to another, I don't know. But yeah, it's a good point to make. I think with Beale, if I'm being honest, I think he's quite lucky to have the job. Like, I don't mean that in like an arrogant, like we're better than everybody else way. But if you look at like the way his previous job went, if you look at what he did to QPR, and like with the great respect for QPR, like he kind of left them in whatever to go to Rangers, and yet it still looked out by getting like what is. I mean, would like most people say probably like some jobs a better job than the QPR job anyway, and he's left. So yeah, I think he's quite lucky. Not to say he won't be good, but he's definitely underwhelming, and he needs to go to a good start. I think that's key. Especially because obviously right. we've got Newcastle in the cup in January as well, which is another whole kettle of fish that I don't.
I think for in the defence of Beale a little bit, I suppose. I think it's a good thing that you have got your home game as his first game, because you're quite good at home, and the crowd's going to be there, and they're going to be getting behind the team anyway. Even if they're not 100% behind Beale, they're behind the team.
Well, that's it, and exactly that, because like some people, I've seen sort of people say, well, because of the negative reaction of the media, they're like, oh, it's not fair, like as if sort of someone, because as you guys know as football fans, I mean, I'm sure you've been in a similar position where just because you criticise something the club does doesn't mean that you're not going to turn up and support the club anyway. It's like football fans are allowed to criticise their club if they think something's wrong. That doesn't mean they're going to not turn up on Saturday and support them. It's like fans will do both. Of course, he's going to get the back in, and if we, it's a home game and it's his first game, and even if people didn't want him there, people will say, he's a new man. We'll give him a chance because that's what you do.
Exactly.
But you also reserve the right to be able to say, I don't necessarily think this is a good appointment.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's hope that. I mean, not so much you guys, but I'm hoping that he gets off to a good start, because the issue I have is if he doesn't get off to a good start, he's not got much goodwill there to use. Whereas, for example, Tony Mowbray had good. So under Mowbray, when we were great, we were really. I mean, obviously he managed you guys, so I guess you probably had similar. When you're good, you're really good. But sometimes when you're not, it's quite bad. But Mowbray built the goodwill whereby people were happy to sort of say, you know what, we lost the game, we weren't good, fine, but we know generally we've been good under Mowbray, so we'll keep on sort of backing them, whatever. Whereas Beale's probably not going to have that insofar as if we get off to a bad start, people are going to be like, well, you shouldn't have appointed him. We knew he was going to be crap, whatever. So why have you? And
I suppose I liken the scenario really to the Rooney situation at Birmingham. Yeah. Eustace was pushed. I know. Look, Mowbray. I think Mowbray is known to have a really, really good start, and he kind of fades because he did with us when he managed us. I think we won our first 6 or 7 games on the bounce under Mowbray. And then all of a sudden we just dipped and got worse and worse and worse. I think it lasted a little bit longer for you guys.
Yeah, it was more like he peaked to get us in the playoffs. We went the run we went on to get in those playoffs. He's given we got Millwall, Blackburn, us, Preston, and a couple of the teams. It was like everyone was just sort of fighting because you guys and Borough and Luton were already basically in there, and it was like we were all fighting out for the last place.
Yeah.
And even just the run we went on to just even being content on final day was unbelievable considering how good we'd been previously. We were it was we won 3 games in a row, twice, didn't quite get 4 in a row. It was we won 3 in a row, didn't win 1, then won another 3 in a row. But it was you're looking around, everybody else is doing the same thing. And if you look at the squad Mowbray had with us, it was there was barely any defenders fit. We didn't have a striker because Ross Stewart was crap.
That's right.
But somehow we just kept going and going, and we made it.
Yeah.
And it was almost like he was too successful then, and that was he made the rod for his own back as far as not so much with fan base, but obviously with the club. They think, well, if he's not doing this well again, then we need to change because we need to keep. Because the minimum, given we got in the playoffs last season, obviously the expectation is minimum we do that again. Because no fan's going to be like, well, I want a worse season than last season, are they? It's not going to happen. So if we got in the playoffs last season, so we have to get in the playoffs again, because if we don't, it's going to be a worse season than last season.
Yeah.
You can't justify getting in the playoffs 1 year, especially as a newly promoted club, and then be like, oh, well, we didn't make it this year, but it's still good, because it's obviously not. So Beale, that's another thing with Beale's putting pressure on him because obviously we were 6th and now 7th, but we're level on points with those. It's so tight this stage of the season. Points don't matter so much, but the key thing is we're in touch. But we were also in touch when Mowbray was landing us. And it's what is Beale going to do? What's Beale going to do that Mowbray didn't or couldn't do to make us to make the whole thing make sense? Because at the point it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But obviously, if he does well, it may do. But that's where I and probably a lot of other Sunderland fans are at with it. It's
I suppose you've just got to wait and see, haven't you? Really?
Yeah.
But on our side, Mark, we've had obviously not manager wise, because obviously Mark Robins is God and we want him to be there forever. But in terms of formation, because obviously when we did play Sunderland last time, we were very much a 5-3-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2, however you want to work it out, with playing wing backs. We've now steadied the ship a little bit, and we've reverted to a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1 scenario. Yeah. How do you think that's going to pose a threat to Sunderland? And do you think he'll stick with a 4-3-3, or do you think he'll switch it up a little bit?
I don't see any. I think we'll keep the same sort of formation. I think looking at Sunderland, certainly when Mike Dodds was their caretaker manager, they've been switching their formations for different games. So it's difficult to predict how and then they've got a new manager, so it's even harder to predict.
I have no idea
what he's going to pick. So what I can say is I think I did watch the Leeds game, and I thought defensively Sunderland were really, really good in that game. They defended for their lives, and they really earned that win because that was a really tough game. That was a really good win. So first and foremost, it's going to be a tough game. I think I would keep the same lineup. The same formation. I would like to see us. He went with De Silva starting on the left last game, so I'd be tempted to go with Hadji Wright for this game. I'd like to see Ellis Sims. I think if there's a place he could score, I think Sunderland. He's played at Sunderland, so he knows where the back of the net is there. So
he was great. He was great for us. I mean, when he was fit is the caveat, but when he was fit, he was great. Then Everton recalled him in January, which we weren't expecting.
That's right.
Kind of derailed the strike plans with him, but he's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've noticed in Sunderland is they're quite good on set pieces. I mean, you look at the goal against Leeds, Dan Ballard scored a good header.
Yeah.
I think he did score. He did score against West Brom as well, actually, as well. So I think set piece is one where we have to be careful on, obviously. The other thing with the formation that I like is that obviously I'd imagine that Patrick Roberts will be probably starting for Sunderland on the wing. I think he'll be playing on the right. I think Clark sometimes plays up front or sometimes moves off to the left a little bit. Alex Pritchard also sort of plays kind of midfield, attacking midfield. So I think the advantage of our formation is that we can double up on players. And I think in the games that I've seen us play, like the Birmingham game, I thought Van Ivak, Sakamoto did a really good job on Shriki Dembele for Birmingham. So I think similar formation for me. I think bearing in mind away from home, it's probably worth persevering with Lati-Baudier. So I would probably go with 4-1-4-1 type of formation.
Okay.
Something like that.
So you're going with the formation that we drew with Leeds, yeah?
Yeah, because I think Sunderland are, as you said earlier, are a good side at home. But you look at their league season, 10 wins, 9 defeats. So it's inconsistent. And whilst they've had some good wins against the likes of West Brom and Leeds, they've lost to teams like Huddersfield, who you probably wouldn't expect them to. So Sunderland are like ourselves. We just don't know what team turns up on the day. But I think it's a game from our point of view. If we want to get up the table, we've got to look to get a win. And that's no disrespect to Sunderland; they've done really well. But drawing games is great. But if we could just nick another win, we've only picked up 2 away wins this season, so it'd be a good opportunity to try and improve on that. But Sunderland, really good side. I'm glad that Bill's in charge because I thought Mike Dodds, you could argue, was unlucky to not be continuing on as manager because he did a really good job there. I know they lost to Bristol City last time out, but I thought he set his team up really well for the West Brom and Leeds game. And if I had the choice, I'd rather have Mick Bill playing against them. So it's. I think from our point of view, formation-wise, horse for courses, I might make a couple of tweaks to the personnel. As I say, I think Hadji Wright will come in and start. Maybe Jamie Allen might come back into the team in place of Eccles. There's a possibility there. That's probably only a couple of changes I would make. Other than that, I'd probably keep it same side.
Okay, cool. So obviously we are closing in on the end of the year. What for you personally then, Jimmy, what's your main area of focus for the transfer window, do you think?
Primarily, we need to sign a striker who is going to be able to hit the ground running. We have signed strikers who are in various levels of not being ready or not scoring goals or a mixture of both. So I think someone but then it's hard because you say you want to sign someone who's going to score goals. Obviously, every team wants that. So how many of them are there versus how many are wanted is two different questions. So realistically, I think we'll probably probably a striker. And then we also need a centre mid as well because we quite like that in that area just generally. And we have been all season because Corey Evans, our experienced centre mid, he got injured in January. It was a serious injury. He's probably going to be back early next year. Daniel obviously is great. Pierre Eckler, we signed from West Ham. He's been good, but he also is quite injury prone. There's not a lot after that. So yeah, I think probably a striker definitely in the centre mid would be nice. Other than that, I think the key is not to lose players that I don't want to lose. I mean, I don't think we will. Well, I say we'd be stupid to sell, for example, Jack Clark. Like bids will come in for Jack Clark, obviously, as they will for numerous other really good Championship players across various teams. The key is like, do you sell now in January when you realistically we're not able to replace him, but we will lose a lot, or do we just keep him and then see what we can do at the end of the season? Because if you look at the teams bidding, for example, again Jack Clark, it's teams at the lower end of the Prem table. It's like your Burnley, Palace, wherever. It's like, yeah, he could get half a season in the Prem, but those teams would easily get relegated anyway. So is it that attractive for him? Obviously, you may money wise probably yeah, but football wise, short term yeah, long term maybe not. So I think that's the key for us outgoing wise is to not lose any key players. Jack Clark's the main one. Paddy Robertson signed a new deal recently, so I don't think we're worried about him. Dan Neil is on a long term deal, so hopefully not. So yeah. But you worry with the model we're under, where it's like, it's sustainability, it's all about making money, spending, blah, blah, blah. You do worry about certain players and how much the pound signs may sort of influence decisions. But I'd like to think we won't sell. I mean, it'd be madness to sell Jack Clark, specifically for us, because he's our best player. And we can't replace him. So if we do sell him, then we're just making ourselves worse willfully in the second half of the season, which to me makes not a lot of sense because, yeah, the money comes in, but where does that? How does it? We can't replace Jack. We can't buy another Jack Clark. There's not like another Jack Clark just going to appear and be like, oh yeah, we'll have you instead. We were lucky to sign him when we did. And for me, I hope he wouldn't necessarily think. But certainly, for example, Burnley. It may be he plays in the Prem for a bit, but let's be honest, they're probably going to get relegated. So, like, is it really going to be a long-term good move for him? Maybe not. So that's what I'm thinking on to.
Yeah, well, look, we've been in the same situation. Hamer went to Sheffield United. It looks like they might be coming straight back down anyway. Yeah. And it's, football-wise, again, was it a good move? But, money talks in this world, doesn't it? We know that. Just to let you know, on a striker, if you've got 100 million, you can go and buy Vic.
I would love so good. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe he didn't get a move straight from you guys, to be fair.
I know. Yeah, to be fair, we are as well. And it looks like it's going to cost a hell of a lot more money,
I know that's annoying, because you guys could have. I mean, presumably I like to sell him or something for him, but to be fair, every game he played against us, even like the first game of last season, we played you at home.
Yes.
And the goal he scored in that game just let literally out of nothing, and it was like, immediately, that guy's good. When you say what's the play, you're like,
that's different class, yeah. It was a great finish, yeah. Well class.
Great finish.
Yeah. And
great finisher.
But also, like, his physicality, tenacity, he had everything, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just a shame, really, that I guess he had to go. But at the same time, there's no real way you could have stopped. Like, there's no way he's playing on the season championship.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Just going on to Jack Clark quickly before we start wrapping this up. Do you think the sale of Jack Clark will be on the owner, or do you think it will be on Beale?
I doubt it'll be on Beale, other than if Beale comes in and they don't really get on, and he may have an influence on it. But if the only way Jack Clark gets sold is to make money, because there's no footballing reason why we would sell him. We don't need to sell him. He's on a long-term deal. It's not like he's coming to last year of his contract. If he gets sold, it's on the ownership. And it's a bad decision purely because we have him now playing for us and we can't replace him because he's already too good. It's similar gap with you guys and Guckers, I guess. It's like he's too good to be playing here anyway. We're lucky that we have him. So the best hope we can get is we get promoted while he's playing for us.
Yeah.
So if that got into the end of the season, I fully expect he will, because he should be playing at a higher level than Championship.
Yeah.
But to sell him in January is different because we don't need to sell in January. So if we do that, it's like we sell him, but we also know we can't replace him, and whatever we get for him, we won't be able to spend well in January because good deals aren't done in January.
Yeah, totally agree.
So yeah, I think, and if, like getting back to before, if he signs for sort of a bottom half club in January, like the best he can hope for is staying up in the Prem. But is that really? I mean, I think he probably knows he can do better than that anyway. Like not necessarily with us, but at the same time, if he does want to get a promotion with Sunderland, he's on record and saying he loves the club, he loves playing for us. Like surely stay for another few months. See if we can get in the playoffs. He'll always be our best player, be our difference maker. So if we're going to get promoted, it's probably going to be down to him anyway. And he can be the guy who did it. And then if we go up, he can then get a much better move to a better Prem club if he really wants it. So, that's what I think anyway.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Right, so anything else you want to add, Mark, to that? Any other questions that you want to ask Jimmy before we finish off with our normal word association?
Jimmy, do you think Sunderland can get in the playoffs this season?
Yes.
Oh,
I do.
That was a straight worded answer. That was.
No, it's a minimum effort. Given we did it last season, I can't think we shouldn't go worse than we did last season. I think it's not necessarily been the best. It's been good in parts, bad in others, but yes, I think we can. If I was a betting man, I mean, I'm a betting man. I'm not going to bet it's going close, but basically, yes, I think we will.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, so as always, I did the same for Matt that was on here last time. Anyway, we do a little bit of a word association, so I'll just give you a one word or a couple of worded answers. Questions. If you give us a one-worded answer, if you can, if you want to say no comment, that's fine. If it goes on a little bit longer, that's also fine. So don't worry about it too much. So the first one is Stadium of Light.
An obvious one, but I'm not going to say. Cold.
Cold. Okay. You've kind of already asked this one, but so I'm not going to ask that one. Favourite away ground?
Everton.
Okay. Newcastle United.
Scum.
That's a word, all right.
I hate them with every fibre of my being.
Really? Wow.
What is this to like about this? There's nothing to like about this.
Okay. Right or wrong to get rid of Mowbray?
Wrong.
Okay. And the last one, Joe Bellingham.
Probably won't be as good as his brother, but he won't be far off.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Enjoy
one last time, if you can just let us know where we can find you guys.
Yeah, so we're at Wise Men Say Pod on Twitter /X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but as I said before, not on TikTok, but I don't know why. So it's X, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, at Wise Men Say Pod.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Much
appreciated.
Sorry,
I should say that on the podcast platforms, also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, all on there.
Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for coming on. It's been ace. Thank you once again, Mark, as well, for joining me. So, yeah, all I've got to say is just remember where you can find us on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar. I'm losing my words, can't remember. We're also sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. Please go and like and subscribe everything that we do. This will be going out. I'll edit tonight, and this will go out some point tonight. Jimmy, just to let you know that I'll link you in anything that we do with this, and we'll send it over to you guys as well, like I did before. And then if you can share it around your guys, that'd be much appreciated.
Will do.
Thank you very much. So
Thanks,
again, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and we'll see you hopefully very soon. Thank you very much.